Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Rainbow Crossing Podcast, a podcast where Gen X and Gen Z discuss life's challenges and how we face them as queer people. We have these open conversations to foster a sense of community through different perspectives. My name is Julio. With me is Daniel.
Hello, Julio. You know, you only let me sit this close to you when we have a guest. So
Not by choice. I would keep you 5 feet away every single time if I could.
I'm well aware. But today we have the most special of special guests. We have a 3-time RuPaul's Drag Race contestant.
Whoa!
The miscongeniality of miscongenialities.
1,000%.
An Austin drag staple. The cuckoo herself. Miss Cynthia Lee Fontaine is with us today.
Yes.
Wow.
How are you guys?
So good. I am so excited that you're here.
Me too.
I'm actually kind of surprised that we made this happen.
I mean, finally, right?
Yeah. We've been talking about it for a minute, but you've been a little busy.
Oh, no. This cuckoo's been everywhere, traveling. There's
everywhere.
a person over there sitting in the corner. He's not on the shot. He's responsible for all that, so.
You know, he's a fairly decent guy. Also, Javi has been on the show before, and one of our very first guests.
My brother.
And he said amazing things about you on camera. Now, what he said off camera, we won't repeat.
Oh, that's why my ears were bleeding. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me on the podcast.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
I follow you on TikTok, actually, and I
Yes.
enjoy all the clips and everything. So
Yeah.
it's good finally to have the
Yes.
opportunity to be here with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And as you know, we love reality TV. So we've been following you for a long time, but the podcast is more about like real issues, topical issues that affect especially the gay community. Mm-hmm. And it really fit in well with one of the topics that we wanted to talk about this season on the podcast, and that is optimism. And honestly, Julio, you were the one who said,
Yeah, I wanted to talk about optimism, and then I was like, who would be the perfect person to talk about optimism? I've never met this queen before, but everything I always see about you is just so positive and welcoming through everybody. Everyone just adores you, and it just shows, winning Miss Congeniality. It just shows what kind of person you are, and just the mindset you have, because you've been through quite a bit of things, and yet you still have this positive morale about you that just needs to be replicated for everyone to just radiate.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can get some of your secrets out and
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about it here.
can you imagine, though, how boring Drag Race would be if everybody was as kind and optimistic as Cynthia is? I mean, you know, the All-Stars had a little bit of drama this season.
A little. Ooh, baby.
Chaos.
Baby, exactly. The end of the world.
And it's funny because it was from a couple of Texas queens, which obviously, you know, you're originally from Puerto Rico, but you've been an Austin-based queen, we can proudly say, for many years now. But it was some other Texas-based girls that were stirring up some drama.
Honey. I can tell.
But before we go down the Drag Race road, let's just talk a little bit about, you know, what makes up Cynthia, like your background and everything. We obviously were doing a little bit of a deep dive into your history. And I did not realize that you had studied psychology.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that you actually worked in the mental health field.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about like what took you there and how that was important to you?
Well, at the beginning, picture it. 1998. I was in high school.
That's the year I was born.
Oh, wow. Thanks to my doctor, I can look like you. As John as fresh as you. And I used to live with my mom, my stepfather, that is Panamanian, all the way in Panama. He used to work at the Panama Canal Commission doing drug tests to all the pilots that tried to pass through the Panama Canal. And my mom and Papa Rene get married. And he said, like, I want you guys, you know, to come to my country. And I have a great job. And so I lived over there for 9 years. And on that, you know, journey myself, I was not out of the closet at all at that stage. Actually, I was part of the church. My family is Adventist.
Yeah.
So I was a fully active member of the church. But always I have in my heart the curiosity to understand humanity. And also in that journey too, to understand myself, my persona, my character, what were happening, what's going on, teenager, all that stage, you start like develop your own character and what do you like, and and that moment I'm like, I want to study clinical psychology. Already at that time, my first time that I sing ever was 1996, and it was at church, and always been my passion. But back in the days, it was a little bit stigma around entertainment business or entertainment careers, especially for singers. So I'm like, I need to have a solid career, to back up just in case something happened. But always in my heart, I have the inclination for artistry and singing. And that year, I graduated and I moved to Puerto Rico, and I'm like, I decided to study clinical psychology. But like I said before, it was more understanding a little bit humanity and also introspect what I want in life, and myself, discovering and I find myself. So I moved to Puerto Rico and I study at the Catholic University of Puerto Rico.
Wow.
So religious always following me in a way. The power of God compels you. Okay. And I finished a bachelor's degree in clinical psychology. I did a minor in biology, and I did a certified mental health. At that period of time, I finished my bachelor's degree, and I started working in a hospital at the west of the island in Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, Puerto Rico. And I moved, and I was rooming with my sister. At that period of time, I was visiting a couple of nightclubs already for the, gay bars and all this stuff. And the first time that I saw a drag show, it was 2004. I was like, wow, what is happening? These goddesses, beautiful, gorgeous transformation from head to toe. You know what I'm saying? And I get impact and in love with that artistry at that moment. I used to work in television in Puerto Rico. I used to work in Univision, Telemundo. I worked in a reality TV show back in the days in 2000 for 4 years. The name was Objetivo Fama, Objective Fame. It was like Puerto Rican American Idol, for singers. I auditioned a couple of times, but never on my audition, make it through. And it was a little bit like, stigma, machismo, patriarchy. Sure. Some of the producers that auditioned me, they say like, you have a great voice, but we need the macho factor, the masculinity factor. And you're too flamboyant for the cameras, and we cannot have that type of stereotype in front of the camera. So I was dealing, with a little bit of discrimination and stigma back in the days, and dealing with, traditionalism. And at that time, when I found drag, I started dancing for a lot of entertainers in Puerto Rico for pageants. I always said, because of course I was mentally brainwashed, I support drag, but never I'm going to be dressed in drag. Never. Look at me now. But then eventually my fascination for this artistry went like super more strong. And using the tools that I learned from my bachelor's degree in clinical psychology, it made me more stronger to understand my gender orientation and sexual predisposition. And then eventually I remember one day, picture it, 2006, December 17 that year. One of my friends have a show on a Thursday. But in Puerto Rico, the pageants, they do it every category by week. So a pageant can be as long as 1 month.
Oh, wow.
And that week was final night. It was evening gown, Q&A, and crowning the following day. And I remember her name was Gia Karanji. She don't do drag anymore. Shocker. I'm still doing drag for almost 20 years. And she told me like, Loca, I need your help. I need somebody to cover my hosting tonight because I have the pageant next day. And I want to look fresh and I want to be relaxed and I feel I'm going to win. She won. She better. And I'm like, I never did drag before. She was like, shut up. Because she know my story. I used to work also for the Miss Universe Puerto Rico organization. And we sometimes play with the blankets, high heels, and I give the best like whatever. And she's like, you know how to walk in high heels. You don't need anything else. So that day, I remember I performed 2 numbers. It was one Italian singer, Laura Pausini, and the second one was Thalia. But let me tell you, when I did my first number, and when I saw in my hands $42, I'm like, this is business. Woo, yes,
Another one.
But also, it was the magic of me finding my niche and finding myself accepted. And it was like a moment that I feel the doors open for me. And that was just so fascinating. And I feel happy. And I'm like, oh, I want to do this. this is when I combine, my artistry as a singer, but also with a beautiful character that I create. And since then till today, next year is going to be my 20th anniversary doing drag. Imagine.
20 years.
Wow.
So that's how, studying my career in clinical psychology, I combine, my career into the drag career. And that's what helping me to create a balance, better understanding, better understanding of my persona too, how incorporate like personal aspect of myself into my character, what personal aspect of myself should not include on my character too, because there should be a balance. And till today.
Yeah. In March, Julio and I took a trip to Puerto Rico.
Oh, nice.
It was
his birthday.
It was for my birthday. It was the very and they did us right. Puerto Rico definitely did us right. It was his first time ever leaving the continental U.S. and we saw some drag.
Yeah.
Because we try to take in a little drag wherever we go. And I got to say, the Puerto Rican drag queens, like, they do it at a different level than a lot of the girls here. So, like,
it could be 5 people and they're giving 100,000%. And I'm like, they are working for the crowd.
Yeah.
At one point, it was a Wednesday. So I don't think it was like a really busy night. But we went to a bar and it was just basically us four. And this girl was flipping and splitting and doing everything for just us four. And we were like, wow. A lot of queens probably don't give this much energy for 4 people. So it was really nice to see just the passion and the drive that they were all giving.
And that's the school of drag that I have, that was like all those years, let's say since 2002 all the way till 2008, like that was the year that I moved, from Puerto Rico to here.
Right.
I have that school over there, and let me tell you, those girls, they rehearse. They rehearse like 3-4 times a week for those shows. They learn how to do the costumes, hair, everything, makeup, like everything had to be perfect from head to toe, And as a Latino, of course, I embrace my heritage. I have multiple drag moms and multiple, drag families tree. And I remember from the Fontaine family, my drag mom, that it was a huge TV personality and comedian in Puerto Rico, Cynthia Lee Fontaine. She was very strict. She was like, you're one of my daughters that is very OCD, but not because of that, I'm going to give you the green light to, slip in and she's doing good. Okay, no. I'm going to be as severe and disciplined with you as the rest. I remember from my first pageant, they throw me with, I don't know how many feet, like 8 or 9 feet from the air all the way to the floor. And I remember I have here a scarf on my knee because it was 2 hours doing that split because she was not convinced that I was doing the right split at all. She was like, "Did you do that split correctly? We're not finished rehearsing."
She had you splitting for 2.5 hours?
Oh, yeah. That explained hip replacement and lower back surgery. Thanks, Mom. Yeah.
Send her the bill.
Baby. See you. But that's the school of drag that I came from. Yeah. So I'm glad that you guys have the opportunity to experience the drag in Puerto Rico,
Amazing. We were treated so well. We had the absolute best time.
That's awesome.
But I want to talk a little bit about, so you went through quite a transformation from your younger days being very religious, psychology, doing a couple of different jobs, and then finding drag, finding yourself. Like I think anyone can relate to that journey of self-discovery. But for gay people, it can really be challenging, especially when we have a religious background, of how to reconcile the two sides of ourselves. And how did you overcome that? Like, did you have an optimistic attitude? Like, what was your outlook on life in general as you were going through these changes in your life, as you were finding yourself and eventually finding what your passion was and pursuing it?
So it was a challenge. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a challenge. But at the same time, when life gives you challenges, in my case, I take them, Yeah. And I'm like, I came from a family that is a hard worker. My mom is a warrior. She's one of my heroes, And she teach me and she showed me, you need to do something that you like you want to fight for your dreams, you have to fight for your dreams, So I remember, for example, when I was in college and, helping all these entertainers for dancing and choreography for talent portion of the pageants and all this stuff. I have to go to college. Then I remember I work at American Eagle, and then I work on TV, and then I was going to the nightclubs, preparing all these productions. So I was like in a moment feeling a little bit exhausted, but at the same time, my body was responding a little bit like tired, but my mind, I was like focused, aiming on the goal, That, I think, it kept me focused into the place that I am today. I feel, because the life that we're living today, 2025, is so like accelerated. It's so fast forward. People want results right now. Like social media. You want to see a 50-second videos, you want to see 7 more in less than a minute. But dreams doesn't work like that. You need to prepare yourself. You need to educate yourself. You need to do everything that it takes in order that you have the opportunity to make your goals, So that was my drive. That was like my motivation. And I learned this not just only from my mom, but also from my grandma, She was a very well-driven a person that it was oriented into help the community. She was very involved with the community, very involved with the family always, and optimistic. She was very positive. Yeah. And if something happens, she always say like, okay, plan A didn't work, but you have plan B, C, D. Like there's always a solution for any issue or any problem that you can face in your life, And I always had that motto in my head that I learned from her and from my family, that it's always helped me to ease maybe probably any sorrow, any worry, any concern that I can have during the process, because it's normal. It's normal also literally to feel a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's always a solution. And if you really want to achieve anything in life, it's okay to feel worried, but never lose your positive aspect of, at the end of the day, if you make this come through, the results are going to be positive and beneficial for yourself and people surrounding you, that it can benefit from this great and amazing experience.
Yeah, I honestly feel like the key to optimism is to just keep trying. Like, if you keep trying, you might not have the right result that you're looking. Sometimes bad things will happen, but you're still learning from it and you're choosing to keep going. And then next time something a little hard happens again, it's less difficult to process and understand. So your mind just naturally starts to grow and develop on its own.
That's a great point of view. That's great. And I agree with you. I empathize with what you said because I experienced that in my life, Yes, I have the great and amazing opportunity to be 3 times on Drag Race, but I have to work hard. Yes. I can tell you a couple of the, aspects of the story. Javier was the one that filmed the audition tape for season 8 of Drag Race on iPhone 8, if I'm not mistaken, right? And I remember it was a conversation that happened on backstage back in the days at Olkins when Yara Sofia and Alexis Mateo were touring for season 1 of All Stars. And Alexis was like, ay, loca, I need somebody to audition from Puerto Rico, but, a person that I was trusting with, that I was supposed to make the audition for, for Drag Race, whatever, couldn't be able to make it, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to audition. And it was my second time because I auditioned for season 6 for All Star when Bianca Del Rio won. Thank to the universe, I did not get cast for All Star 6 because those perras are so talented. All of them are so competitive too.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, Javier, in 3 seconds, I help you do the audition tape. And he looked at me like, what the hell I just said? Because I don't know how to film an audition tape. So it was a learning process for both of us. And we went bananas. If you see my audition tape, it's stupid.
Well, we actually have it here. I'm kidding.
The tape. Ladies and gentlemen. And after that moment, I learned myself a lot of amazing aspect of my personality and things that I never thought before that I have, because I took the risk too. That's my second advice. Yeah. First is just aiming to the goal. Even of the obstacles, just work on your goal. Second, take risk.
Yeah.
You need to go out of your comfort zone. Because life is going to challenge you so hard that you think that you're comfortable in your bubble. And you are. But if you want something, you have to go out of that bubble, of that comfort zone, and fight. So that's what happened to me. We made the audition tape. We send it, let's say, on a Monday. Wednesday, I was receiving an email. And they were like, actually an email, and they called me and they said like, hey, you are on the process for eligibility to be part of the cast of season 8 of Drag Race. And I'm like, oh my God. And I call Javier, Bobby, get ready. He was like, are you serious? You know, and from that day, that's when all this 9 years journey start, you know. But again, you have to take risk, you know.
And I will say that a lot of people don't take risks, obviously, and those people tend to not have an optimistic outlook. They think the worst thing is going to happen. When you have a positive outlook, when you're thinking optimistically, what you're thinking of when you take a risk is it's going to pay off. It may not even be, like you said, it may not be in the way you thought it would pay off, but it will pay off. It may teach you a lesson. It may make you stronger. It may make you harder, but it will make you fight for something better. And that's the brilliance of this optimistic outlook on life is that it makes everything seem okay. As someone who has been through really down times, before I was like extremely optimistic, and once I got through that, and I realized like, oh, I can get through anything. And after that, the risks, the bad times, nothing really seemed that bad because I had this optimistic outlook on life now, and that, yeah, this didn't go according to plan, or this really fell apart. But at the end of the day, I've got all these other amazing things in my life. And so optimism will carry you so much further than a pessimistic attitude ever will.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I remember the first time that I met you. That was, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I think we were in high school then.
Yes, seniors, yeah. And you always have a smile. You're always very kind, a gentleman, and nice with everybody. Even, I'm going to say this because it's a stereotype, of course, but you were like, and people now, the viewers now, your fans now, but that you work, with a lot of personalities for the pornography industry, for the porn industry. Yeah. And I remember when I was talking with you, I'm like, oh my God, he's so nice. He might be like, I don't know, like a therapist or something. And then when I learned, you're an entrepreneur and, all the involvement, I'm like, oh, wow. And he's so nice. Because, sadly, there's a stereotype, there's a stigma, people that work in the porn industry, they're like, which they are not, one of my friends, Alan Keane, he's a sweetheart, he's so cool. I know so many people, from the porn industry too, that they are so kind, so cool, so nice, but again, that optimistic, show through that moment that I had the opportunity to talk to you and meeting you, and I'm like, he's so nice.
Thank you for saying that. And it was mutual. And you're a busy person. I'm busy, but you're busy. And we've had opportunities at different events and different shows over the years to be able to sit down and talk for a few minutes. And like that positivity, I think we all are, but I'm just so drawn to that. So whenever I get a chance to talk to you, I'm just like, bye everybody. And it's not that I want to go.
Even myself too. And I'm like, oh, Daniel, how are you? How you been?
And it isn't even like a fame thing that you're somebody who's been on TV, so I need to go talk to her. It's this energy that you're putting out. It draws people in. It draws me in. And that is another amazing quality about being optimistic and being a positive person, is that it is infectious. Other people want to know your secret. Like, how is she loving life as much as she is? And what is she experiencing? Because, we'll talk about it in a second. You've gone through some really hard times, and physically especially. And that can be just debilitating, physically, mentally, emotionally. And to be able to still go through those things and have a positive outlook on life. People want to know why you're so positive. And a lot of people don't understand, like, you've gone through the worst of the worst times and are still positive. And it is that secret, once you turn that, whatever it is on your mind, and that you see life in a positive way, even the bad stuff doesn't seem so bad. Which, once you figure that part out of life, everything else just flows so much easier.
Let me tell you, it happens to me when I was a teenager. When I moved all the way from Puerto Rico to Panama, it was a shocking experience because it's a cultural shock. I have my friends in Puerto Rico, I have my family in Puerto Rico, and then all of a sudden, abruptly, I have to move from Puerto Rico to Panama. It was devastating to me. Back in the days, my mom and myself and, part of the family were Catholic. So we used to go by tradition every Sunday, but I never feel the connection, until I get to Panama and I discover myself with this great and amazing group of individuals, my friends from there, and they teach me about self-love and how to be spiritual.
Yeah.
And I find out, my connection with spiritual connection. That changed completely for me. I have a conversation with my stepfather, father, which I call him, Don Ramon, and I love him so very much. Wisdom, man, an amazing human being. And he had a conversation with me, and he said, like, when you let the doors of your soul open for positivity and for love, things are about to change for you.
Yeah.
Boom. Slap in the face, slap in the cuckoo. That was the moment that I'm like, wow, yes. This is like the energy that it's like within me. And I need to share this in order that I can find my happiness. And that's what shift, and I always have my spiritual connection with God, what I translate to me, it means to me, God, the energy of the universe. And since that moment, I became this optimistic, this positive individual that is talking to you today at 44 years old. So it's just fantastic, that every single person can have that a moment of a spiritual connectivity in different ways. In mine, it works that way. And I think I'm not turning back into, I was a terrible teenager, like very disrupted, angry all the time, almost in a depression.
We sound the same.
Right?
Everything you're saying sounds a lot like my childhood.
We all have very difficult stages, different situations, different scenarios, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in my case, it was that, but when that conversation shift, when I just have and understood on my holistic model, biologically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritual, everything was complete for me in that matter. And that's when it shift and change. So my biggest advice for being an optimistic and positive person, find your spiritual connection. Find your own spiritual self.
Right.
That's the most important part. I think sometimes we forget and we focus on physicality. We focus on, professionality. We focus on biology. But we totally forget that inner soul. That inner soul, it's like the top of the cherry of the cake, Without that, we're going to continue being in a journey that is going to be difficult. And maybe we're going to see things very difficult and pessimist and negative,
Yeah.
So that was the moment for me that everything shift into the positive individual that I am today. And that's my biggest advice to everybody that is watching, this episode. Find your spiritual connection. Find your spiritual self.
Yes.
That's the only way that you can understand things the moment that happens to.
And the thing is, it doesn't have to make sense to everybody. If it makes sense
Exactly.
to you and it works and it's making you a better person and a better version of yourself, that alone is spirituality. You're tapping into that good energy that is just naturally out there. And to you, if it works and it makes sense, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
No one has to get it. There's not a right way to do spirituality. You can worship who you want. You can see it however you want. And at the end of the day, you just got to tap into it. Because I feel like we are getting a little disconnected from our spiritual selves as a country and as a society, that we're actually pinning each other against each other. And in reality, we need to understand that we are all the same. And that we can love the way we want to love and worship and believe and proceed with things the way we want to if it's coming from a positive outlook.
You just say it right. Shante, you stay. Oh, yeah. I agree with you 100% on that, And I'm glad you say that. It's very important that we mention that because, social politically situation in the country is difficult. I think in so many countries today too.
Yes, of course.
Also, the involvement of technology, this disattachment, human disattachment that we're having right now so far. I have people, for example, something so simple as communicating. I have to ask, hey, can I call you? No, please. I prefer that you text me.
Sure.
But I want to hear your voice. I mean,
Where's the human connection?
Exactly. Picture it back in the days, 1989, 1992. We had the phone hanging on the wall. Hey, how are you? And talking with your parents, talking with your friends, talking with your lover, things like that. And now we're losing that humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in all this tumultuous situation we're living right now so far, like you said, find in your own way, in your own terminology, that spirituality, you know? And it's very diverse. Like you said, that's why I empathize with what you say right now. And it's true, because it can be in so many ways. But it's important that you know your soul. And as far as you understand your soul, everything else is gonna be overflowing so easily.
Yeah. And the only way to understand your soul is to be uncomfortable a little bit, to put yourself in scenarios that are going to push you from thinking one certain way to thinking a different way.
Yeah.
And listening to other people's perspectives.
Like I told you before, like going out of your comfort zone. And that's the only way that you can even discover positive aspect of yourself, you know? For example, in my case, I have to bring this, example because it was funny. It was funnier. But I remember when I did my first audition tape for season 6 of Drag Race. One of the producers emailed me and said hey, we like your audition tape. You're so professional. But it was like watching vacuum cleaner commercials at 3 a.m. in the morning on TV. And I'm like, oh, that means it was boring? Yes. And I thought about that and I'm like, what I'm restraining myself if this is my dream to be on TV in drag with my character and my persona? No. So when we did the audition tape for season 8, everything went completely free. That's actually when you risk and when you go out of your comfort zone, sometimes you win, sometimes you fail, but you find out and you win some stuff that you didn't know before you tried.
You still get something from it.
Exactly. It's a learning experience. That's what I call it, learning experience. You know what I'm saying? So that beautiful journey and that beautiful process, lead me into new, and I was talking with Javi. I'm like, Javi, I didn't know I can do this. I'm funny. He's like,
You're hilarious.
Girl, you are. You're stupid, yes, but you're funny. Hello. That's why we're I'm helping you for this audition tape. And I watched that audition tape. I'm like, wow, that's when I found out so many exciting things about me. In that process, going out of the comfort zone, plus combined with optimism, it's exciting because you're like, oh my God, I did this. Oh, I make a mistake. It's okay. I feel cute. You know what I'm saying? So it's very powerful. Yeah. It's very powerful. So I agree with you. You need to go out of your comfort zone, of your room, or your electronic devices, your cell phone, your iPad, all this stuff that, disattach you completely from reality in a way. And go out, touch some grass, enjoy the air, and if you really want to do something, whatever it is the goal, just go and try. Geronimo, jump the waterfalls, and you will see what happens. You never know,
Yeah, we all start in a bubble. Everybody has their bubble. Some are larger than others. But when you take a risk, when you put yourself out there, your bubble starts to expand. And all of a sudden, you're living a life that you never even realized you were able to live.
Oh, yeah.
Like this, I'm sure that 20-year-old version of you never thought that you would be where you are today.
Absolutely not.
And if you had not had a positive outlook, if you had not thought, I can do this. Let me push myself a little further because I know I can be successful. Yeah. There's something bigger and better waiting for me if I just allow myself the opportunity. And you did it.
Thank you. I learned this also for my grandma too. And I'm going to say it in Spanish and then I'm going to translate it for you in English. And es mejor pedir perdón que pedir permiso. It's better to say I'm sorry than ask for permission. And that's very powerful. And that's about taking chances in life, and that's what it happens to me. I was a very introvert kid. People don't believe this because I don't talk as much. Anyway, but back in the days, I was very introvert. And as a self mechanism, I create a bubble, because there's so many reasons that we create, our comfort zone, aka, and, our bubbles, our crystal boxes, whatever you want to call it, you know? And when I found that a spiritual connection in myself and my inner power with my soul, that shift and changed everything. And it was a moment that I did not feel oppressed or repressed, and I let it go. Elsa, let it go. And that was the moment that I feel I was winning in life just with that decision. And that's what led me into drag. Yes, of course. I never contemplated the possibility 20 years ago, I'm going to be doing this. And actually, this is my chosen career today, and this is my happy place. So that's why I'm very like empathetic of you need to take risks. You know, you need to take chances because life, it can be difficult, but at the same time, life is beautiful. And take advantage of it. You know, if you have the tools, if you have the opportunity, just do it. You know, or if don't, just build it up. Rome wasn't built in one day.
Yeah.
So that should be the drive for everybody, even of the circumstances that we're living today and the environment that is a little bit like condensed today. Doesn't matter. You are the owner of your own destiny.
I want to know what your drag race experience was like in regards to entering drag race, where you were mentally, and then how everything just fell in order, where you're having to get surgery, health concerns, and like how that affected you mentally and how you stepped out of that and still came back even positive.
So on season 8, when I went to film, I remember, well, I'm going to start with I have experience. I remember, picture it, June 26th. It was the day that it was legalized gay marriage here in America. That was exactly the same day that they called me, congratulations, you're part of the cast of season 8 of Drag Race. Crazy.
Big day.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, I don't want to say as much, but I remember that day, the oldest owner of all cans, Larry, rest in peace, he put at 25 cents all the cocktails to celebrate that moment. The bars were packed like crazy, you remember. And, you know, I think that was one of the reasons that I got liver cancer. But we're not going to say that because I drank that as much that day. Oh, Dios mío. Forgive me. Universe, forgive me. But anyway, we celebrate that day. I have just only 2 weeks to prepare. Back in the days, time was limited. Drag was perceived different on the TV show.
Yes.
So it was more into the craftsmanship, like organic, you know. And I went to the TV show, and all of a sudden, the second week that I was, filming the show, I started experiencing the symptoms for liver cancer stage 1. And that moment, I'm like, after all the work that I have to do to be on this position, now I'm getting sick.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a challenge. Let's face it, take care of yourself, but you're not gonna stop working. That was my first like plan A. As soon as I get out of the, they eliminate me, for episode number 3 on season 8. A doctor came to the workroom, see me, they have some blood work. He came back like in 2 days, like, this doesn't look good, so we're gonna transfer you to a specialist. You have a health insurance. I'm like, yeah, because at that moment, I was currently working for a community AIDS resources and education program, care program, as a case worker for HIV clients with substance use and mental health. And they referred me to an oncologist, and I'm like, oh my God, really? But I was like, no, you got this. You got this, because there's a purpose. Life and the universe put you on that position to make your dream come true. This is not over yet. This chapter is not the end of the book. So I remember when I was taking my chemotherapies and everything, of course, my appreciation to life was, the level of appreciation of life was way more higher. That's what shift, I was like, I'm one of the most viewed TV shows in the United States. Even it was on Logo TV, cable network, but everybody was watching Drag Race.
Yes.
And I knew it was going to be the opportunity of my life because I love to work on TV. So my appreciation to life, that's what changed more. Even if I had it, but now it was like hyper appreciation for life. And you can talk with Bob, you can talk with Kimchi, you can talk with Layla McQueen. They were in shock because literally I was with masks after chemo on my sewing machine doing all the looks for the promo week and tour that we have to all the cities. It was like 5 cities that we have to visit promoting the new season. They were like, I cannot believe already it's November. You have all the looks. And we have a group on Facebook. And everybody was like, hey, how you doing, guys? Do you have any updates about your looks and everything? I sent all the pictures of my looks in a mannequin. They were like, no, are you serious? You should be like focused on, getting better. I'm like, I will get better. And I always knew I'm going to get better. I do affirmations in the morning. It's a part of meditation, talk with the universe and do my prayers. And I always have the affirmation like everything is going to be great. whatever the challenge or the circumstance that happened that day, because you don't know, you can face it with optimism. That's always like, boom, my motto everywhere. So, bringing back to the response to the question, what helped me is, and that shift is that hyper appreciation for life, hyper appreciation that every day I have the opportunity to wake up and be grateful because I'm alive and I can continue doing my dreams come through. And even if I make mistakes, it's okay. There's going to be another day that I can fix them, and I can and I can see the situations in a different aspect, So I think that's what Drag Race helped me in a way, the experience to be on the TV show helped me, So again, that's another thing that I want to tell you guys. Even if you feel that you are in a situation that it can be devastating for you, always look for the positive aspect, learning experience. Yeah. What I can learn from this that I can move forward. And that's for me the key of success for everything. I remember when I was eliminated on season 8 of Drag Race, I have a best friend, her name is Cheryl. She's legally blind, and one day I was frustrated. It was the last semester for my bachelor degree. She studied clinical psychology too. She was on the same program. And it was biology. It was all the, it was a test for all the muscles. And all the muscles in Italian terms, mamma mia. And I was like getting frustrated a little bit. And she touched my hand and she said, do not give up. Even of the obstacles and inconveniences that you can face in your life, just try to make your dreams come true, even if you are the only one who believes in yourself. And actually, I said exactly that when I get eliminated on season 8 of Drag Race. So that has been in my heart and in my soul all these years, because that's the only way that you can see things with optimism. And clear your mind from all the stress, from all the depression, for anxiety, and let you think clearly and through. And that's how you can create a pattern for a strategy, what you can do next.
Yep. I honestly think some of the most optimistic people go through the darkest things because you have no choice but to be optimistic, or else you're going to be stuck in the darkness, and no one wants that. It'll just hold you there and keep you there. So you kind of have to just keep pushing and trying to be the best version of yourself and look for the end of positivity. Which you do. You do so well. And it shows just how...
Well said.
It just shows how powerful you are, really. Like, how strong you are as a human being, that, like, you can go through something in the public eye and still be like, I'm good. I'm going to be good. And everything is going to turn out in my favor. And it did.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I hope that people get the opportunity. Every time that I have a platform like this, so important, I share with all the viewers and everybody that have the opportunity to watch this. Hey, there's always hope, but also there's always solution to whatever issue you're experiencing and facing right now. Because if I'm sitting with you guys here right now on this specific moment, you can do the same in your own journey. Be a fighter, but also, be a lover too, and be optimistic and always have hope.
Was there ever a moment, though, after you fought through the cancer, and then you had to have the 3 back surgeries and then the hip replacement? Was there ever a moment you were like, when is it going to be enough? Like, I've had it with the challenges.
I would feel tired.
So let me tell you, you guys remember this terrible frozen weather that we have in Austin 2021?
2021, yes. Yeah.
That the hospitals were closed. So at that period of time, I had my 3 lower back surgeries. And it was on the Del Seaton Medical Center, all Brackenridge, when they moved to the new building. But they have to close because it was unbearable to drive because of the snow and how dangerous was the road because of the weather. And my incision get infected. I got a bacteria on the surgical room. And it was terrible. It was terrible. In that moment, I was like, okay, first cancer, and now this. But then next day I woke up and I'm like, but I'm still alive. Hold on a second. Where's the bicycle? Let's go. And I remember my partner at that time,
powerful.
he was finally able to take me to the hospital. And of course, I stayed like 12 days on ICU because they're trying to do like, cold tips and lab works and everything to find out what bacteria I have, And I'm like, well, I'm on ICU. I remember a couple of days, like the light went off, electricity, and was not electricity. What's that?
Right.
Well, you guys know.
Yes.
You experienced that,
Yes.
in Austin, Texas, snow. And when I came out of the hospital and everything was okay, I'm like, I talked to my own self. I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, do you see? Told you. Everything's going to be fine. You don't have to freak out, And of course, I'm a human being. I'm vulnerable. I have my moments. And that's part of our humanity. And that's part of who we are, But always in the back of my head, on my subconscious, is always that voice that say like, you can do this. You can do this. But to get into that level, of course, we talk about a spiritual connection, but also you have to train yourself.
Yeah.
With positive things, and also surrounded by people with positive energy too. Boom.
100%.
Another tip that I can tell you right now. If you are surrounded by a group of people that love you, it can be your chosen family. It can be your family. It can be your friends. It can be, your partner. It can be anyone that inspire you and give you that positive aspect. That's going to help you to recharge the batteries of your soul.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you have to be very aware, and we are both very conscious of this, of who you surround yourself with, because positive energy will bring you positivity. But if you're not careful, allowing somebody in who's a negative person in your life can destroy everyone around you.
Yes.
And I've experienced that myself. And it was someone who I deeply cared about, and I had to just have a sit-down conversation with them, and I was like, you have two choices here. Like, you can find a way to see all the positives, because there are many, many positives around us, or, and I don't want this to be the choice, but or I'm going to have to ask you to leave, because what you're going through, this negative energy, it's starting to make me feel negative, and I can't have that in my life.
And let me tell you this, being a positive and optimistic person comes too with some results or consequences too. Because I remember when I find out this explosion of optimism and hope and positive energy that I have, I become naive to see my surroundings and people that comes with real positive interest or some negative interest, and at that moment too, my self-confidence was lacking. So I was a pleaser. Oh my God, you need a car? Good. Oh my God, you need this? Oh yeah, And I was a hyper pleaser in a way that it was affecting my own environment, but also affecting myself emotionally. And I'm like, no, it's good to say no. It's good and healthy and important to say no.
Yes.
Always I was so concerned about the perception of my environment, everybody that was surrounding me and everything. I'm like, no, you need to love yourself first. You don't need the validation of somebody else to tell you that you're good. You know you're good. You're fantastic. You're an amazing human being. You're an amazing diva, D-I-V-A diva, go for it. And now at my age right now, I understand that concept pretty well. It took me a couple of years, don't take me wrong. But to be aware of who you are and be confident about it, that's everything that you need. That's everything I need in order that you can move forward.
It really is. And in that point, you can start helping others along their journey as well.
Yes.
Because you're overflowing with the love, the confidence, the positivity. But until you do that, until you start making sure that you have filled up yourself with all of that good stuff, you can't help other people either. So you got to start at least by saying no and saying yes to self.
Oh yeah. And that happens a lot of romantic relationships. When you love so much your partner, but then you become this kind of hero. Oh, because I need to help. But at the same time, if you don't help yourself, how the hell are you going to help somebody else? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Let's reverse and let's translate that, So you need to focus on yourself first, on your inner energy. And then after that, if you feel comfortable to do it, you can transpass that beautiful energy to others. But if not, it can be leading into a very complicated situation. And then at the end of the day, it's not going to be positive, it's going to be negative.
So now you're at a place where you feel like you're the most realized version of yourself, experiencing everything that you've done. Now you're leaning towards music, activism. Tell us about that.
One of the main reasons that I love the stage is singing. You know, I've been singing since 1996.
Beautiful voice, by the way.
Thank you so much. Oh, you're gonna make me blush and it's no makeup. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Fun fact, by Cynthia Lee Fontaine. Back in the days, I have 2 gospel productions from Panama, and it was in all the radios in Panama and South America. One was The Language of Jesus is Love and Welcome Home. I know, a CD. Oof.
Wow.
I'm still quinceañera. Don't judge me. Still good, thanks to my doctor. But then that journey stopped when I went to Puerto Rico to pursue my career, my career in clinical psychology. Yeah. And things changed because I was finding myself. I was a gay man, my gender orientation, sexual predisposition. I never came out to my mom. My mom found out. She opened my suitcase. She saw my fake titties and a picture of me in drag. So that was a whole process that I have to put kind of on hold my dream and pursue my career as a singer. But then Drag Race came to the scene. And I'm like, wait, hold on a second. What if I go to the TV show and I get to promote my career as a singer with my beautiful and amazing character in drag? And it happens. I went to the TV show, not just only once or twice, 3 times. And finally on All Stars 10, boom.
Yeah.
I came with this crazy vocals. Everybody was like, what? Cynthia can sing? And I'm like, finally.
Yes.
Everybody,
Such a rich voice.
Everybody knows. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So all this journey till today, I feel like I reborn because I started releasing music since 2018 with my first single, Pegajosa, Sticky, very sexy. I know. I show Cuckoo on that video. Javi knows how, the amount of honey and, props that we have to use. And then eventually, but I was doing music myself because I want to sing, but it wasn't like the music that I want to do, until when I filmed the show last year and we filmed the semifinals this year, I'm like, I want to do me officially. So now I'm into the pop rock era. And of course, it's something that defined my roots because in college for 3 years, I have a band. Wow. The Ninosphere. I know. Nothing related to any movie. It's an original name. And we used to, on Thursdays and Saturdays, twice a week, play in different cafes in Puerto Rico, at the south of the island, in San Juan too. And it was all rock in Spanish. Always I like that genre because it's so powerful. Yes. All the influence that I have, Janis Joplin from, and we can mention, Bruce Springsteen, like you can mention like a list, you know, and even, Latinx bands, Enanitos Verdes, Puya, Black Guayaba from Puerto Rico. And I'm like, this is the moment to do what I want because I'm ready.
Yes.
And, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I'm ready. So, and I can tell you, I'm working on my first ever drop album. My album, like me as Cynthia Lee Fontaine.
Okay.
That,
Yeah.
And I already recorded the first single.
Yes,
I'm excited.
awesome.
I know. And let me tell you, this happened because when it is your time and your moment and you're ready and you work and fight for it, it will happen. Don't doubt it.
For sure.
I have the great pleasure to meet Primo the Alien. She's a great and amazing Austin artist. She's so good. And we connect. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, because we did the first recording of a single a couple of weeks ago. It was just only a meeting. We ended up in a full journey in a weekend just recording all the entire single.
Wow.
That's nice.
So when great minds think alike and, good energy.
The chemistry.
They are so good. Like her and, her boyfriend. I love you guys. Huge fan. You get together. Yeah. That's what I said. When you have the opportunity to surround yourself by good energy and good people, everything else for you is going to be like a positive aspect forever. So that's what happened to me. And on this journey, since I did my affirmations and I reclaimed my space and I said, I want this. It's happening. It's happening. A week ago, I had the pleasure to be part of the premiere release album party for Primo the Alien, new album, Chaos Pop, streaming everywhere. It's phenomenal, guys, phenomenal. That moment when I stepped into the stage and I did all my set live for 20 minutes, I was like, wow. I feel
Feels
that
good.
first love when I was pursuing my music career in Puerto Rico back in 2000. And I'm like, no,
This is it.
everything is getting the universe conspiracy in order that this is happening. And it's happening on the right time, the right place, and the right moment. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, manifestation is real, and
Yes.
it shows that if you keep at it, it will work in your favor.
Yes.
We are pretty much close to the end. So, what would you like to give our listeners one last takeaway from this?
Well, first, thank you guys for the opportunity. Thank you guys for the
you.
interview. I love you for years.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. You, I love you already. And we
I love
met
you
today.
too. I love you so much.
And I mean, I follow you on TikTok, and you guys are like, and your point of view is like, I'm like, this guy
So
won the
sweet.
crown on Q&A, So thank you so very much, and please continue supporting them. But also, for all the viewers, remember, nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
Nothing is impossible. You have to work harder. You have to go out of your comfort zone. You need to find your spiritual connection. You need to find your inner power. You have it. You have it. You don't discover it yet. Something is happening. You need to find out. Self-discover is not an easy journey, but at the same time, the results can be rewarding. So, make your dreams come true. And believe in yourself.
Thank you so much, Cynthia.
Yeah.
I just want to say you are so inspirational. And I don't say that a lot to a lot of people. Like, you really are truly
Thank you.
inspirational. Your energy is something that people just wish to have and hopefully can learn to be that same radiant light that you are. But I really enjoyed this episode. I'm so happy to have finally met you, and we love you and would love to have you back anytime.
Yes,
Anytime.
please.
Absolutely.
The first of so many.
Yes.
You promise.
Exactly. Yes,
You know my
promise.
chancla.
But thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend, for joining us today. I'm so glad we were finally able to make this happen. We'll have you back very soon.
You promise.
I promise.
I'm watching you, both of you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you.
you, guys.
And thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time.